Okay. Yeah. Good morning. Shonchu Sanchu Rinpoche Ma She Pa Nam She Jur Je She Pa Nyam Pa Me Pa Ta Koni Kondan Perwa Shos Aya I would to say good morning, and same time as also I want to ask to you, please generate bodhicitta, compassion. And also we are studying compassion. And according the word of my perfect teacher, and we are in the extraordinary preliminary practice, actually like we are practicing Dharma. And this is like start taking refuge, all the foundation stone of the teachings and practice. And second is arousing bodhicitta. And this one is insurpassable in the liberation path, or when we follow the footstep of the Buddha. And without that, we are not really follower. We are really follower of the Buddha, yes or no, depends entirely the bodhicitta, compassion. And also it's like according the compassion or the attitudes, then there are the different vehicles, like 9 vehicles, and there is like kind of 3 vehicles: Hinayana, Mahayana, Vajrayanas. And that is teaching itself. There's no deviation, different. But the practitioners, and according to the capacity, or according to the wisdom, according to the preparation or the like kind of the mentally faculties, then this kind of happened. But now it's like we are more Mahayana's attitude. And of course there's 2 kind of attitude: vast attitude, bodhicitta, and that is the Bodhisattva's attitude. And the skillful vast attitude is the Mahayanas. It is like more profound of the bodhicitta. And now it's like a vast attitude of the Bodhicitta. In order to take this attitude in our mind, and first we train our mind for boundless qualities. Second is like really how to arousing bodhicitta in our mind, like taking vows, the front of our own spiritual friend, visualize Buddha and Bodhisattvas, whoever dwell in the 10 directions, then we commitment to take the both aspiration bodhicitta and application bodhicitta. It doesn't matter if you follow up the Buddha's view or Buddha's actions. And that is like also is like the holder these two traditions. Buddha's disciples of these two lineages, like actions lineage and the views lineage. And the action lineage holder is Asanga, view lineage holder Nangarchunari. And this like kind of course, reality is inseparability, and like this. And then it's like when we are arousing bodhicitta or to take vows of the bodhicitta, then we need to tame our mind according to the bodhicitta vows of the aspiration, the application. We have there's a discipline, like a moral, according to the Buddhist vows. And now we are that is our mind training with discipline of these 4 bodhicittas. And of course, in the bodhicittas, compassion itself, there is kind of first bodhicitta, basic beginners, we say the relative bodhicitta, and then it's like a more profound realities, absolute bodhicitta. And in the relative bodhicitta, connect to the aspiration bodhicitta, the application bodhicitta, and very important to keep the discipline. And today is like we are studying how many discipline according the relative bodhicitta of the aspiration bodhicitta. There's 3 precepts. One is like meditate great equanimity of the self and others. And the second one is meditate on Tonglen, to exchanging, give happiness to the other sentient beings, taking on others' sufferings. Then is the third one is constantly others are more important than the oneself. These 3 disciplines, it is connect to the aspiration bodhicitta. Now, how we can meditate on this 3rd precepts of the aspiration bodhicitta. considering, imagine others, sentient beings, is like more important than yourself. How we can to meditate, how we have to consider, to think about. It goes like this. I may be in samsara. I may be reborn in hell. I may be ill, feverish, or suffering from any other misfortunes. And like kind of the prayer or to say, I don't care, it doesn't matter. I need to be in samsara. If other sentient beings do not need to be in the samsara. If others not be in hell, I myself to reborn in hell. I don't care. Want others which never ever reborn in hell. And I myself is any kind of the illness. It's happened on me. If sentient beings not to be ill, that's okay. And any kind of feverish, like kind of the any kind of hot sickness. If sentient beings not feverish, me, it doesn't matter. Or my I self sufferings. I want to bear of that. Any kind of sufferings for any others, like kind of the misfortune. Everything is like misfortune, sufferings, unbearable things. Ripen on me, I don't care. If may other sentient beings not suffering, not have any misfortune. But I'll be it all. I will bear it all. I can to embrace it. I can to practice patience. Any this sort of type of the sufferings to ripen on me if sentient beings rather than sufferings. For me, I can to bear at all, it all. May the sufferings of the others, sentient beings, may be health suffering, hunger ghost sufferings, animal sufferings, humans, demigod, godon, wherever in the samsaras, any kind of sufferings, others ripen on me. I will bear it all. If there is nothing left or nobody's sufferings, if I will take it, if possible, I will do it. Maybe also may ripen on me. Like that is really you taking care more important than others, like more important than yourself. And also, may other beings have all my happiness and all the effects of my good actions. Arousing this thought in the deep of your being and actually put it into practice. And any kind of all the different type of the sentient beings' sufferings, fully, entirely, purely ripe on me. And then there's no single sentient being's sufferings. And also may my all the happiness, the source of happiness, result of the happiness, any kind of the good actions to ripen to other sentient beings in order to get other sentient beings' happiness. Arouse this thought in the deep of your being, the actually is deep in depth of your being. It is very important, and it's like sincere, honest, utterly. There is nothing kind of the connect to any self-centered. This arousing bodhicitta and this kind of the feeling, form, take it in our mind. Then we need to put it into practice. What does it mean? Every moment, each second, you need timing that, remember that, to say through your mouth, doing acting the body, and visualize or generate in the mentally. Then you are really put it into the practice. There's many kind of following the examples of the Atisha's teacher, who is a Meter Yogi, and another his story is the Dharma Rakshita, and our teacher Shakyamuni, and those like kind of noble sentient beings, how they can arousing great bodhicitta of others more important than themselves. Teacher Shakyamuni, in his rebirth as King Penman, and another his stories as a turtle and as a king Munakudasa. And this Buddha Shakyamuni, he's reborn different life. King Pemasal, turtle, King Munakudasa. Generally, is Buddhas. Before he be enlightenment, he reborn again and again on like misfortunate lives, 500 times. And also he reborn again and again, pure reborns, pure body, fortunate bodies, 500 times. And then it's like he become the enlightenment. And therefore it's a Shakyamuni's, many different lives, stories like this. The first is the Atisha's teacher, Mitra the yogis. Once Mitra yogi, Atisha's teacher, was expounding the Dharma. When a man nearby threw a stone at a dog, And Matter Yogi teaching extraordinary explanation of Dharma. And in the teaching area nearby, there is one person's throat stone heated one dog. And then is the master, Meter Yogi, yelled. In Tibet say, ananas, ouch, means with pain, and fell from his thrones, fell. He's like kind of the felt. Outside in the teaching areas, the person's heated dog leg, and this suffering took Atisha's teacher, Mitra Yogi, and he was also pain. He said, ouch, and like kind of he fell from the throne. The other people present, seeing nothing the matter with the dog. And it's like a dog hit them. He's not their stone hit him. They very much this kind of negative thought. This thought that material yogi must be pretending. They thought this material yogi, I think, is like kind of hypocritic, pretending, just to kind of show off. But material yogi, who knew that they were thinking, showed them his back on with their wealth of the stone that had been thrown at the dog was clearly visible. Atisha's teacher, Mati Yogi, he understood they understand that maybe he needed to show. And he knew that. Then he showed them like where this person's hit the dog in the leg area. Like welt of the stone, the mark, which place the stone hit it. He had the thrones. It is like a thrown at the dogs in the leg, in the like bottom and the throne. At the same as the place the dog received the stone, there was clearly visible kind of swallow or mark or like a heated. That is obvious. And everyone there was convinced by the evidence, kind of completely evidence, convinced. And this dog sufferings took by the Atisha's teacher, Muti Yogi. He had physically taken upon himself the pain caused by the stone hitting the dog. And of course, this is like kind of the Bodhisattva's strong attitude. They take like this. This is maybe some in the case. We, of course, it's very difficult for us. Even the like kind of our family dears sometimes problems occurring. And a difficult like exchange. and like this. But of course, this is like kind of wonderful, convinced or the evidence. This kind of arousing bodhicitta, others more important than yourselves, and your like kind of strong bodhicitta is immediately result, and this happened. And the same is the master Dharmarakshita. Dharmarakshita started out at the Shavaka, Pandita of the Vibhashika schools. Generally speaking, in the Shavakas has many different schools. Like kind of the 18 class of the Shavaka school. But one of this class, Vibhashikas, quite very deep and also it's like more sharp. And there is like two types of the Vibhashika, Buddhist Vibhashika and no-Buddhist the Vibhashikas. And no-Buddhist Vibhashikas is like kind of the nihilistic. But this is the Shavakas Vibhashikas. It is quite sharp, more close to the Pachikas, Buddhas. And therefore this Dharmarakshita is the teacher of Vibhashika schools, the Shavaka Buddhas. Although in the entire part of his life, he had never heard the teaching of the great vehicle, because he's all the times to be in the Shavaka school, Vibhashika school. He's learned about the tradition of the Vibhashika schools, teachings. And he studied, he became the teacher of this school, and he practiced that. He never heard teaching of the great Mahayana's vehicles. But anyway, nevertheless, he naturally affinity was to the great vehicle traditions. Affinity, connected, related, some in the connections. He is to the great vehicle of the traditions. And without any deliberate effort, he was filled with the great compassion. Generally speaking, Shavakas, Pachika Buddhas, and particularly Vibhashika schools, they have some kindness to other sentient beings. They are like more kind of the Bodhicitta of the king. I want to be enlightenment. All the other sentient beings is very difficult, complicated, disturbed. And like concerning other sentient beings, very much tiring. From that perspective, first I want to be Buddhahood. And then it's like concerning other sentient beings. They're like kind of normal way of the thinking like this. And therefore, not very much developing the compassions in the Shavakas or the Vibhashika schools. But he has infinite connection infinite was to the great Wickel traditions. Natural, automatically, he has a great compassion. Absolutely, automatically. Once, someone in the region where he lived as attacked by a violent illness, which the doctor declared could only be held with one medicine, the flesh of live human being. If that could not be found, there would be no hopes. And where he lives, in these areas, like kind of big pandemic, one person is particularly one person, it is violent illness. Doctors cannot cure. But finally doctors discovered if he will to get some medicine, a live human being's flesh, meat, maybe that can help this sick person, violent illness person. It could not be found. If we do not find, then there's no hope going to die. Can you give me black tea? And then Dharmarakšitas say, if it helps, I will give him mine. He was very happy. Of course, generally, Shavaka or Vibhashika schools, no, they don't might think like this. But he has this kind of such compassion. Said Dharmarakšitas, and cutting some flesh from his own thighs, like kind of the leg, most is like strong, thick meat areas, he cut it. He gave it to this sick person who ate it and was cured. And of course, and Dharmarakšitas, who had not yet realized the empty nature, true nature realities. And of course, Shavaka Buddhas, they practice type of the emptiness, but not fully emptiness. And it's like kind of in the path of the training process. And therefore, he suffered enormous pain as a result of what he had done. But his great compassion prevented him from feeling any regret. He hasn't got any regret, because what he done, he made suffering himself. He helped in order to help to other sentient beings. Of course, he has unbearable sufferings, but his feeling is very happy, no regret. That is prevented by his own compassion. Great compassions. And like himself, he don't care. I'm pain, I'm suffering, it doesn't matter. I helped one person. I cured this violent illness person. And then it's like Dharma Rakshita asked to the person, are you feeling better? He asked the invalid. And this like kind of person say, yes, I am fine. Thank you very much. Your generosities. But look at the difficulties I have brought upon you. I'm very sorry. I made problems. You helped me, but you look so difficult. You are pain and sufferings. And of course, Dharmarakshita was very happy. He said, I would ever bear death if it could bring you happiness. If this may bring for me is like the death, it doesn't matter if you are could like bring you happiness, you could your sickness, you are happy. It doesn't matter, miss. Said Dharmarakshita, he was in the such pain. However, that he could not sleep at all during the night. Then finally, at some time in the small hours, like just a moment, maybe he slept, maybe he dozed off and had a dreams, kind of a little bit, just maybe few seconds doze, like sleep, and this inside he dream. His dreams, a man all white wearing appeared to him and said, whoever wants to be attained enlightenment must pass through such trial as yours. If someone's wish to be enlightenment, it is need to this kind of ascetic or the hardships. And of course, he is great fortunate. Then it's like a candle, he said, well done, well done. In Tibet, lekso, lekso, shunda leksos, well done and well done. The man spat on the wound and rubbed it with his hand. And like kind of the blessed by his mouth into this Dharmarakshita's wound, and hands like Robert in these areas. The wound it disappeared, leaving no scar at all, even the no scar, no mud kind of that, there's no thread at all. And then he certainly, when Dharmarakshita awoke from his dreams, he saw that his wood really had been held his wound. The white man had been the great compassion, not one himself. And this is a great compassion of the Avalokiteshvara himself. Is like kind of the coming from of this great Bodhisattva of the Dharmarakshita. Blessed rubbed his wound, and wound disappeared, even there is no scar. And not only his pain, sufferings disappeared, but also it's like sometimes he authentic realization of the natural state, emptiness. And then down in the Dharmarokshita's mind and the word of the Nagarjuna's 5 trees on the middle way, ceaseless on his lips. And his like kind of authentic realization is also occur after this white man, great compassion one himself appear in the front of that, blessed to him, the Dharmarakshitas. His wound, sufferings absolutely disappeared, but also he has authentic realization, like natural state. And his mind, wisdom of the mind is opened. He understood all the Nagarjuna's 5 commentaries or the treaties. And like kind of there's a 5 Nagarjuna's texts, sometimes the 6 Nagarjuna's treaties. Principal one is the root text of the middle way. I think once we studied in Dharma City a little bit part of that. And that you can need to look at these 5 treatises of middle way and by the Nagarjunas. It is all like kind of the explanations of the empty nature realities. And like kind of under his mouth, he can to coming out. He didn't memorize but automatically coming, naturally coming into his mind. And also there is his story of Bodhicitta. In ancient times, when the Shakyamuni in a previous life was a king called King Pema, a serious epidemic broke out among his subjects, and many of them died. And King Pemasal's and his subject such appeared the epidemic, same as like kind of the virus. Many people died. The King Pemasal called the doctors and asked how the disease should be treated, this pandemic. Do you have any medicine? Which kind of things disease this pandemic? Asked to all the doctors. Doctors replied to say, this sickness can be cured with the flesh of the rohita fish. I think Rohita fish, this fish is the whale, the biggest whale or the dolphin. Maybe it's like this very aggressive dolphin, not like kind of dolphin. Nyarohata. They said to the King Pemasas, but the disease has so obscured our mind that we can't think of now other remedies. And of course, these sicknesses, like kind of, has so obscured our minds, according that it's a very difficult which kind of antidote remedies. We discovered only the fish of Rohitas meat. If we got, then probably it can cure. Then, of course, King Pemasas kind of ideas. On the morning of auspicious day, the king bathed, like kind of the take shower to clean up his body. Donut, new clothing. He wearing very new clothes and performed a ceremony of confession and purification. Confession and purification means it's like sojourn he did. And then he made a great offering to the three jewels, prayed fervently, very determinedly, strongly, honestly, deeply. How we like kind of prayers, saying that as soon as I die, may I immediately be reborn as a rushi, the fish, in the Narita river. And he's praying like this, like I'm going to kill or maybe die myself, and please may I become immediately the fish, Rohita fish, in order to dispel this pandemic. He then cast himself down from the highest of his palace, 1,000 cubits, like kind of the floor, and was immediately reborn as the fish. We are sleeping. And today is very much weather strange, and according that a little bit early, but everybody is now the rushy fish. Maybe you don't need coffee, but maybe we can stop there 15 minutes. Okay, now.